Attention gamers. Previously on my attempt to get the WoW communities to play nicely with each other, I asked the hacker code geniuses behind the hardcore add-on if they could make it work in SOD so that I could create a white chocolate mocha monstrosity of a man named Tater Totems and play the game on hardcore mode. I drank illegal substances and traveled through barren deserts to harness the power of sticking 2 twigs in the ground at the same time, and I used this power to chase full glory by earning an achievement from killing a large rhino before my 12th birthday. Turns out doing one hardcore achievement went to my head and I was already going straight to the boss of Horde demanding a pay raise, who by the way didn't sound like I would expect.
All members of the Horde are equal in my eyes, adventurer!
But he was like, you wanna get paid the big bucks, go beat Gazas in an arm wrestling contest, to which I was like, fuck that, I'll just be an engineer. I read that's a high paying career, plus I'd build a network of co-workers that I could leech off of. But the real reason I was in this Dorito dusted zone was to arrange a trade deal with these 2 particular Jamaicans. I agreed to electrocute some crabs and grab a skull from the pile of Ms. Kiff's dead hardcore tunes, and they'd agree to give me some tools to save me when I do dumb things like accept the arm wrestle agreement. As you can see, I was already scheming to meet up with my brother from another Mulgore mother for our next achievement, but there was one problem with that plan. But this is where I also realized that my rule to not equip gear from quests was unclear when it came to items. After some discussion, we agreed that it's too hard to police that, and using quest items is allowed, but also you are a pussy if you do use them, and with that, I was ready. I fought my way deep through Skull Rock's intestines until I found the shit I was searching for. I had to make sure my glory would be uninterrupted by shooing away a crazy cat lady, as this was something I had to do alone. I called in Sarah the searing hot redhead, and then I made my move. The plan was for Tasha taunts a lot to distract the genie, but he Jake Paul'd that shit in 2 hits. I Hiroshima the duo, but despite him being low, my own health was dropping faster than my IQ every time I turned Mitch's stream on. I chugged a Kool-Aid, and then desperate times called for desperate measures, as I agreed to be a pussy if it meant living. Guzzy went down, but his Howard wasn't happy. Seeing as Rav the Avatar died to utter bullshit, this was the first death I've had in hardcore where I could have played it better. I experienced the hardcore death insomnia, thinking about all the things I could have done different, all the backseating streamers that would be dissecting my failure.
I think he just sucks.
Drama!
And I knew I needed to avenge it. And so there's nothing quite like spending 4 hours just to retry the same thing that just got you killed, but this time would be different. You can't get help in hardcore, but there's nothing that says you can't dance in front of priests until they give you their buffs, and after outsmarting the system a few times, there was just one more thing to do. And I was ready for my rematch. Except he spawned in a shit spot where I could just cheese him from the ledge with no glory, so I tried my best to fix this situation by convincing naive dad gamers to pursue their dreams. And after repeating this enough, I got him right where I wanted him, and this time I had a plan. So after officially amending the rules to allow quest items to be used because I personally couldn't do this without it, I had successfully avenged my death and was ready to lend my services to the Crossroads who were struggling with some odd issues.
A shipment of silver was stolen from our guard tower. It was a raptor.
So a genocide of the purple T-Rexes was ordered and I was gonna humiliate my victims along the way. I then challenged a fellow man of the sham to a twig off, to which I led with a searing Sarah, and when he failed to bring the fire I just knew that it was only a matter of time with this one. But he wasn't hardcore, so it's okay. See, look, he failed miserably again in front of me like 30 seconds later. And on that note, I know it may be difficult to tell who is playing hardcore and who is not, so I found the best way to communicate this with other players who invite you is to simply tell them that you are hard and then immediately follow them around uncomfortably close. Sorry about that, where was I? Oh yeah, I stunned the snarl shitter, backed up to the 3-point line and hit him with that static Steph Curry combo for the kill. It was now time for my next challenge, Barack Obama Bane. I called in my entourage and started delivering defibrillators, but turns out he had trained bows and didn't feel like taking lightning damage, so I went in to shake his hand, which went poorly. He wasn't to be fucked with, so in the midst of this heat I made like an egg and scrambled, but I knew there was glory on the table and I wasn't gonna leave until it was mine. I muttered 2 lines that sound like they could be someone's famous last words, and we were ready for the rematch. Turns out this bag of shit just didn't feel like being impacted by my abilities, but with gear grayer than Hagrid's ballsack I should have known better.
8 hours later.
A little sleep deprivation later and it was like it never even happened, but here's where I also learned that desk popping a random Baron's Casper gave me a rune that instantly turns this tater into tanker, and what better way to test this out than to take on the chasms of rage fire. We took these pulls slow as shit because the only green thing our group had was my experience level on Shaman, but that's why we were here, to get those fat upgrades. And the first one, we were so happy for Hosey that we all hit him with that move. But then I don't know if the warrior team at Blizzard gives the best break rune blowies or what, but the theme of this run quickly turned into,
"You've got mail, 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 you've got mail, mail."
And by the end I wasn't even happy for fucking Hosey anymore. He got so kitted that by the end he was just Leroying into 4 packs, leaving me the tank, forced to call in Henry the Hiroshima bomber off the bench just to get me threat. But piss monkey asshole loot RNG aside, we went in as boys and we came out as men. Well, mainly Hosey. And then to add injury to insult, he decided to demonstrate what all his new gear can do in a duel. And let me remind you that this is also one of the dueling champs from the Hardcore Makgora tournament, so you are probably thinking this will be a blowout, but that's where you're wrong.
Oh, look at the cleanse, look at the moves! Baker, what was that?
And I may be able to slay dungeon bosses and smurf on Grandmaster duelers, but I knew the deadliest challenge was still ahead. The Undercity elevators. And surely someone that can survive these lethal lifts can avenge themselves by helping Rigthar when he asks you to.
Bring me the head of Barack Obama.
I spent days in that desert studying their species, teaching my sticks of their ways. I researched the most efficient ways to kill off their kind, building my defenses against their style of combat. I put myself in deadly situations to practice staying calm under duress. I knew every last ability they could throw at me, and had a plan for each one. Until it was time for the epic rematch.